Hello everyone. When I made my last arrivals video, I thought that would be it before Christmas, but to my surprise a few more things did get through in the mail just before Christmas. So I decided to do another recent arrivals covering the latter part of December. In particular, I've had 3 limited editions arrive, and I think you might be interested to see them. I have a bit of an apology in that they aren't wrapped in cellophane anymore. The reason being that yesterday we tried to do a proper unboxing video and I'm afraid we had camera issues. So that explains why there's no cellophane, but in a way it almost makes it easier so I don't have to grapple with that. Now, let's start and first up have a look at the signature edition release for Morbid, the 7 Acolytes. Now, signature editions I find are very reliable. They always put out nicely produced, good value, smaller, or shall I say medium limited editions in terms of what they are able to include for the price. They tend to be very similar items usually. You can predict what will be in a signature edition. I decided to get this one because the dark subject matter appealed to me. Let me have a quick look at my notes. This particular game is described as a horror punk action RPG. So we have not cyberpunk but horror punk. Filled with Lovecraftian horrors and Cronenbergian gore. Now, that sounds promising. The developer is called Still Running. I hope they're not running away from something, but towards something. Now, the game has been described by critics as a Souls-like experience. We know that there are many who strive and try to imitate the formula, and very few have accomplished something along those lines. One of those would be the game Salt and Sanctuary. That is a very good game, and I'm enjoying it both on the PS4 and on the Vita. And some critics have actually compared Morbid a bit to Salt and Sanctuary. So I'm hopeful that I'm going to get enjoyment out of this one. So let's have a quick look at the box. Slip cover comes off, and here we have the box itself. Most of the time, signature editions provide this kind of understated box. Now, the first thing you see as you open up the box is a piece of artwork. And I think it illustrates very well the atmosphere and the style of the game, the horror punk, I suppose you could say. The game itself came with a signature edition, always provide a little card to go with the game. And here is the game itself. There is nothing else inside, no extra manual or anything, just a disc. And this is the reverse, showing the publisher Merge Games. The print will be a bit too small to read, I reckon. And here we have a soundtrack. There are 18 tracks on it. and this is the interior design. So I won't put that on right now because I expect it might be quite dark and brooding. And as is usual with Signature Edition, they included a couple of pins. That's the content for Morbid. I just want to read you very briefly an excerpt from a review I felt was really good and helped me decide to purchase the game, and that is from Noisy Pixel. They write generally very solid reviews, and they say it manages to stand out thanks to its strong dark fantasy presentation, rich Lovecraftian lore, and gameplay systems that offer methodical combat and plenty of features to make the adventure satisfying. It's a difficult game for sure, but it doesn't forego quality of life features for the sake of being difficult. And that is an aspect that would certainly be important for me, because playing a difficult game without the redeeming feature of at least letting you get back on your feet quite quickly, that might be a bit too frustrating for me. But I don't mind dying often and getting up on my feet and trying again. That's all part of gaming, that's important, as long as it's not made especially frustratingly difficult. So that was Morbid, and I will obviously report how I find the game once I get around to playing it. I think you will already have espied Shantae. This is a plushie, obviously with the ponytail, that came separate from the limited edition. So I got her as well because, well, you know, I like my plushies, and I haven't got a Shantae plushie so far. Will you be all right here, Shantae? Okay. Let's have a look at this box, which was produced and distributed by Limited Run Games. I'm a big fan of the small, dainty, ponytail swishing adventurer Shantae, and it says here on the box she's back in an all-new tropical adventure in her 5th outing. The half-genie hero gains new fusion magic abilities to explore a vast sunken city. I'm all up for that. And here you see a well-designed interior for this cardboard box. Everything is kept in place and is not thrown about during transit. So the first thing I'm fishing out is a poster. As you know, posters are always welcome in this household, and it's two-sided. The one side and the other side. Very nice and colourful. So now let's see how we can pull out the interior. First of all, there's something on top, and then the main part. The soundtrack. And the listing of the tracks on the back. 35 tracks. Here's the game, of course, and I didn't unwrap everything yesterday, so there's a bit of cellophane to get rid of. So here we have the game without the cellophane. That should improve a bit how it appears on camera. And this is the presentation inside. I'll just check the case sleeve has an interior design. So if you for any reason didn't want that side, I suppose you could switch to that. Let's have a quick look at this little manual. The story, main cast, side characters, bad guys and notes. Welcome to Paradise Island, home to sun, surf, sand and the fabulous Half-Genie Festival. With her friends in tow and new half-genie allies at her side, Shantae is ready to enjoy her first vacation, but something sinister is stirring in the sunken city below. Wouldn't you know it? And here is our little belly dancing heroine. The main cast is shown, the side characters are illustrated. It's one of those thin little booklets you sometimes find with games these days, not a full art book or proper manual, but nice to have nonetheless. Yep, here are some of the bad guys. So just a nice little addition. Okay, what else have we got? Now this is really, really nice. A steel book. And a very nicely produced one. So it's up to you where you want to keep your disc. So we've had poster, soundtrack, steelbook, game so far. Is there anything else in the box? Hocus pocus, there is a pack of 50 cards. They're called monster trading cards. I haven't unwrapped that because I know if I do, the 50 little cards will fly all over the place, but here you can see one of the monsters. So as I expected, a really nice limited edition. I do notice, however, that art books are becoming a bit of a rarity these days, and you only really get them in top-end collector's editions these days. They are, of course, very expensive to produce. Now, how are we going to prop you up, Shantae? Okay. And I forgot about the little top items in the Shantae box, so we'll just have a quick look at that. This is a sort of replica cartridge, and I think it's meant to be a Game Boy cartridge. If you want to, you can set it up on this little stand and have it displayed, I suppose. I won't do that now, it would take me too long, too many fiddly parts. Right, one more box to go. And this is Indigo Prophecy. Now this box has an unusual design, as you probably see from the diagonal cut along the front of the box, and I have to say it looks really classy. And we can open up the box that way. It has sort of a magnetic clasp at the side. And there we are. So this is how the box opens up. And I just want to get the contents out because I was worried about them just tipping out. You can raise them up with a little flap, and there's a sticker sheet here, and here is what's called the bonus CD. I don't know whether you can read the back here, there's a lot of reflection, so I'll just read it out to you what it includes, which is concept and key artwork from the game, a special save game that unlocks all of the in-game bonus content, wool, game manual, game soundtrack, desktop wallpapers, and avatar portraits. This looks a very generous and interesting bonus CD, and I'm actually really keen to have a good look at that. That is an excellent idea. I have to congratulate Limited Run Games on putting this together. Top-notch idea. Here are 2 art cards. And I just want to briefly talk about the game before looking at the remainder of what's in the box. Indigo Prophecy was also known under the title Fahrenheit in other regions. This box is a 15th anniversary edition for the game. It's of course by Quantic Dreams. Well, it's quite obvious I wouldn't have got this box unless I liked the work that Quantic Dreams have done since then, and I'm obviously familiar with the more recent games, and I do like them. Now, this particular collector's edition by Limited Run Games is limited to 1,500 copies worldwide. However, I am aware that there was another edition done by Meridian Games. Supposedly it was available not just in Europe but also in Australia. However, I have never seen hide nor hair of that edition here in New Zealand, and it wasn't available to me to order, which is why I went with the Limited Run Games edition, which, to be honest, is a lot easier for me to order and import than some other editions that can be a nightmare to track down. Now, according to my notes, this other European edition included a specially created case. I imagine it might be similar to this one, I don't know. A sticker set, we've got that, an art book, interesting, and a letter from the developers of the game. The game was first published, obviously in 2005, since its 15-year anniversary, by Atari for Windows and also Xbox and PlayStation 2. The plot follows Lucas Kane, a man who commits murder while supernaturally possessed. And the gameplay involves the player in making decisions to alter the narrative, and back then in 2005 that would have been quite an innovative concept, I reckon. It's diving back a bit into video game history, and of course you know by now that I do love doing that. I find it very important to round out my understanding of video games and how they developed over time. It really adds to my appreciation of both old and modern games. So let's have a look what else is in the box. And here you can see I was able to lift up the items with a band that has been thoughtfully provided, so you don't have to dig out the contents. Now here's the steelbook. I'm sorry about the reflection. I did my best with the daylight we have. It is quite understated and it looks very good. This is the reverse side. Interior has just a very, very light design. And I'm blessed today with another poster. It is large enough that I have problems displaying it, but I think you get the idea. I actually think that could look very striking, especially on a white wall. And finally the game itself, and I'll just quickly have to get rid of another piece of cellophane. And the reverse. So that was 3 limited editions for today. I'll just do a quick pan with the camera over the table because I don't have Poodle Pa today. He still isn't that well, unfortunately. So I'll just quickly try and pan the camera over the table. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that interesting. I will report, as usual, on the games once I play them. Please keep well. I'm Food for Dogs. Bye-bye.